Previously on the Tailgate.
We will see you next week where hopefully we will be celebrating a New York football victory. Welcome to the Tailgate, brought to you by Verizon. 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. I'm Michelle Margaux. That is Ralph Vacchiano. Ralph has no faith in either of these teams. I don't know why you weren't as confident as I was.
It's been a long 2 years, Michelle. It really has. I've just watched too many games for these two horrible teams to ever think that something good could happen to both of them on the same day. I mean, the last time they both won on the same day was December 22nd, 2019. And come to think of it, I think the night before was your first appearance on SNY.
We'll have to see if Pat Shurmur can keep Big Blue motivated as they head down to Washington.
So these 2 years of misery is kind of your fault.
Okay, well, those are fighting words. I don't think that's true. Now that the Jets are in a different country this week, maybe it'll bring them some good luck.
Was that Russian?
Let's get into a New York state of mind and welcome back Connor Rogers from Bleacher Report. Connor, did this last weekend show us that this city may have two legitimate quarterbacks?
It's good progress, right, Michelle, when you get not only 2 wins, but good performances from each young quarterback. We've talked about it before between us three that this is make or break for Daniel Jones. It's year 3. They really got to figure out, especially if there's change at the top in the offseason. There might be a new GM. You never know. So Daniel Jones has a lot to prove, and he's not been the problem this year at all. Then you look on the other side with Zach Wilson, and everything that made him such an interesting, intriguing prospect at BYU was on the field against the Titans. The big plays, throwing the ball down the field, using his athleticism to buy time. So I think 2 great big weeks and hopefully a sign of things to come for each New York quarterback.
Yeah, and you may as well grasp onto the hope because that's something that Jets and Giants fans haven't had much of recently. I'm more encouraged by Daniel Jones only because he's actually been quietly pretty good for 4 games this season. And really, you go back to last season, he was good in the season finale as well. So he's starting to put together more than one good game to give you a sense that maybe he is what the Giants thought he was going to be.
Well, Ralph, we can talk about quarterbacks all we want, but they're nothing without the supporting cast around them. How do you think that their supporting cast helped them this week?
For the Giants, it all came together in this game. I mean, we got big plays from Saquon Barkley looking healthy and Kadarius Toney finally having a breakout and Kenny Golladay looking like a number 1. And he got time, a ton of time in the pocket behind that offensive line.
I think for the Jets, guys caught the ball. Corey Davis down the field, like you said, Keelan Cole down the field. Jamison Crowder was back. There's no doubt that had a huge impact on the offense as a whole to move the chains. Guys are doing the simple things right, and everybody's starting to come together. Like you said, only 1 week, but if they can keep building on that, they might have something.
We didn't mention Andrew Thomas. Is he proving that he wasn't a bust?
In a short period of time, yes. I think that, obviously he's got to do better than he has in his overall picture. He still had a couple of, mistakes in early games, but the last 3 mostly, he's been pretty good. He was very good against the Saints. So, remember there were 4 tackles drafted at the top of that draft. Maybe he isn't the worst of them, as many people thought after his rookie year. Maybe he's not going to be the bust that a lot of people thought. It just needed a little bit of time. And, I think the Giants are pretty encouraged that, if he's not going to be a great left tackle right away, he's going to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, it's a tough position to adjust to and be thrown into like that because the pass rushers at the NFL are bigger, faster, stronger, and they're more technically sound. They have more moves in their toolbox than Andrew Thomas, even though he played at a high level in the SEC, didn't necessarily see week after week. So it's hard to say be patient when Tristan Wirfs, a guy they passed on, was the starting right tackle on a Super Bowl team, or, Jedrick Wills was playing great for the Browns. Mekhi Becton had big moments for the Jets. That's where the Andrew Thomas narrative started to steer the wrong way. It's only year 2. I think he's going to be just fine.
Here's the best way to tailgate for this Sunday's game in London. First, what to do if you're in England. Hello. First, go to the pub. There are plenty of pubs to choose from, and you can find your finest ale. Next, repeat the word football as much as possible. Soccer is not an option. This is a football day, so make sure you say football. And by the way, pick up some fish and chips, because that's what we Americans eat when we go over there across the pond. Next, drive around on the wrong side of the road and point out Big Ben and Parliament to anyone who's listening. And last but not least, you're the expert. It's your game in town. They know their soccer. You know your football. Now, if you're here in America, it's 9:30 in the morning, but hey, that should not stop you. the first thing you want to do is go to either Arthur Treacher's or Long John Silver's and pick up some fish and chips. Not as good as in Britain, but hey, you do what you can. Next, drive on the wrong side of the road, but just make sure that there are no other cars or people around so you don't get a ticket. You want to be safe, but also respect Great Britain. And last but not least, if the games end up not being so good, you could always watch an episode of Ted Lasso. That's how you tailgate for this Sunday's game.
Let's call an audible. And Ralph, I don't want to say that I'm crazy, but I feel like Saquon might be back.
Well, I'll say that you're crazy, but you're also not wrong. I think that Saquon Barkley might be back. Really, since week 2, he's basically been in the game the entire time. So they're telling you by doing that he's healthy. And the last couple of weeks, he started to show flashes of looking like the old Saquon. Now, we're still waiting for that really big run. The thing where he just dazzles everybody, misses 4 tackles and takes off, or that big game where he's got 120, 130 yards rushing, something like that. Then everybody's going to say he's back. But this is the Saquon Barkley that we saw for the most part as in his rookie year. All of it's there. He looks pretty close to the old Saquon Barkley to me.
We know what kind of shape he's in, and you are seeing it on the field now as we're reaching this point of the season that he can factor as a 3-down back. He can make guys miss. He creates his own yards, and that's what this offense needs. It's going to be a lot of quick pass game. It's why they drafted Kadarius Toney in the first round. He's a make-you-miss kind of guy. They have a type of player there for the Giants, and Daniel Jones has done all the right things so far, and he really needs those guys to pick him up and create their own yards. And Saquon, it's looking like it's trending in the right direction that he is that guy again.
He was the guy as a rookie. He was everything for the Giants offense. But this is a better offense now. So, we've all expected that, look, Jason Garrett's going to use him the way they used Ezekiel Elliott. He's going to be the engine. He's going to, be the guy that carries everything. He doesn't necessarily have to do that. If Daniel Jones is playing well, when Sterling Shepard comes back, if Kadarius Toney's a weapon and Galladay is playing like he is, just the threat of Barkley might be enough to change things. Maybe you don't need him to be a guy who rushes for 100 yards a game.
Maybe a big rivalry game against the Cowboys might get Saquon to have that big run that you're talking about. But on that note, that is it for this week's episode of The Tailgate. For Connor Rogers and Ralph Vacchiano, I'm Michelle Margaux. We will see you next week when hopefully we're celebrating a second consecutive win. It's just a toss-up on which team it's going to be. Thanks, guys.